Hey YouTube, this is PokéCastXVll here, and this is a recorded game taken from the Winter Cup, which is a local tournament down at my locals, and that is held in Shoreham-By-Sea, which is kind of near to where I'm from. Anyway, this game is round 3 and it features Nathan Mclewee, which is on the left, and Jake Walvin, or Cake sometimes we call him, which is on the right. So as you can probably tell by the playmat, Nathan is actually the owner of the site ProPokemon.com. I'll put the annotations in the description box below if any of you guys want to check that out. It's filled with a lot of really good articles written by a lot of really good players. So yeah, there's that to check out if you want. And Jake on the right is actually having a very successful season so far. I think some of his highlights are he's won a regionals in Exeter, I believe. So yeah, so he's already halfway to getting his world invite. So, and this match came up and it really particularly interested us just because of what Jake was playing. If you haven't already seen it by now, I won't spoil the surprise, but it was something that was definitely interesting and something that we don't see too often. So we thought it'd be a good match to record, and also a lot of people are playing Blastoise Keldeo, which is what Nathan's playing. So yeah, two interesting decks, so we thought we might as well record it. And as you can probably see by the table, it's a little bit wobbly, so apologies in advance for that, but it doesn't take away anything from the actual game itself. So yeah, just to update you on the game, Jake is going first, and as you can see he uses the heavy ball to search out a Klink, which is definitely interesting because it's something that we don't tend to see very often, hence why we wanted to record the game. And yeah, I guess their deck is very, as you can see there's a Prism Energy attached to the active, which is the Darkrai. So assuming at this point it's very similar to how you would play Darkrai Hydreigon, in the sense that you move the energy around that way. And yeah, so Nathan just cuts the deck and see what he does. And yeah, he just passed his turn. So Nathan picks up, believe he drew a Super Scoop Up then. And yeah, so he places down a Sigilyph, which is very, very interesting because it's not a card that you'd associate with a Blastoise Keldeo deck. However, it because you've already got the Mewtwo in there, I guess if you have the Psychic, it kind of makes sense. But also, if you do find that you are in a situation where Nathan is in, where looking across the board, you can see that Jake has a Keldeo and a Darkrai, but obviously he can stall out with a Sigilyph if need be. And if for whatever reason the Psychic goes to the discard pile because you're playing Blastoise Keldeo, you can also just energy retrieval it anyway, so I guess it kind of makes sense. So yeah, by the looks of it, at the moment Jake doesn't really have any means to knock out the Sigilyph, so he plays a Skylar, which he searches for a Heavy Ball. Okay, so he goes for the Klinklang, and usually when players tend to get a stage 2 to the hand, you know they've got a rare candy. So imagine he'll be evolving to his Klinklang this turn. And yeah, looking at Nathan's hand, I can see a rare candy, an Ultra Ball, and a couple of Super Scoop Ups, so he doesn't look very good for supporters. So yeah, unless he tops into something that's going to allow him to draw more cards, it doesn't look like he's accessing his resources as much as Jake is. So yeah, he plays a rare candy and puts down his Klinklang, and he just passes. So he misses the energy attachment for this turn. And hopefully for him it won't be too costly, but looking at Nathan's hand, I don't think there's much that he will be doing this turn unless he's topped into something. Yeah, as you can see, he just passes because he's not got anything that will either set up a Blastoise or put any more energy onto the board. But on the flip side of things, Jake actually does get down a Terrakion, which is definitely going to make things a lot harder for Nathan, because if he does decide to stall out with the Sigilyph, then Jake can just promote the Terrakion for the KO. So what's really interesting about this is moving the energy around to accommodate which Pokemon you want to put the energy on. And because they're all special energy, you can attack with any Pokemon that the energy are on. And also with that in mind, you can Max Potion. I'm assuming he plays Max Potion in there. But yeah, as you can see, Jake's just going through his resources very quickly. He's just played a Juniper, so he's got into a fresh new 7 cards. And yeah, places down the Prism onto the Keldeo. But one thing I kind of noticed with the Klinklang, the deck, is that the energy acceleration was quite slow. It was literally once per turn. So I guess if there's any sort of flaws to play in on Nathan's behalf, it's perhaps to try and attack quicker, because his energy acceleration is a lot quicker to Jake's. But as you can see, his resources are just very thin at the moment, and he's not really drawing into much. But yeah, next turn, providing Jake can put down the energy attachment, it's looking as if it's going to be hard to kind of come back to, unless he gets a powered up Keldeo. But he does do 40 damage to Darkrai, obviously being 60, but with the resistance. And just see what Jake does here. So yeah, he attaches the blend, and obviously he plays the one compensating for the water and fighting, because he has the Keldeo and the Terrakion, which would make sense. And yeah, see what he does here. Yeah, so Nathan's just checking to see what energy is attached to it. So yeah, just moves the energy onto Darkrai. So he's attacking with a Darkrai that has 3 special energy on it. And he does 90 to the active Mewtwo and 30 to the Keldeo. Obviously he can't hit the Squirtle because of its ability, and Sigilyph because of its ability as well. But I think realistically you'd want to be targeting the Keldeo anyway. So Nathan plays his first Super Scoop Up, gets a Tails, which he really needed a Heads, plays a second, misses it, and third, would you believe it, and as you can see just off the screen, he hits another Tails, which is drama! So yeah, this puts him in a very tight situation, because by the looks of his hand, if I recall, I think he had means to make a Blastoise, but he chose to keep the Super Scoop Ups in hand because he thought they might be useful. So yeah, as you can see, he's got an Ultra Ball, a Keldeo, and a Rare Candy. So with the Ultra Ball, he could have made a Blastoise, but unfortunately, you'd expect at least one of those Super Scoop Ups to go your way. But what can you do? So yeah, he just has a Sigilyph active. So what really hurts at the moment is that he had to discard those 2 energy to put in the discard pile from the Mewtwo. But nevertheless, you can energy retrieval to get it back. But yeah, Jake just plays a Pokemon catcher and gets Mewtwo forward. So he's going to take a straight 2 prizes and put even more damage onto the Keldeo. And knowingly that if Nathan does bring up the Sigilyph to try and stall out, he'll just move all the energy onto Terrakion and then just knock that out. And obviously with having Darkrai in the field, that also gives all his Pokemon free retreat. So yeah, just takes 2 prizes, and as you can see, that's why I guess the deck was a really interesting idea. But if there's any consolation to Nathan, he does actually draw a Blastoise, so that means he didn't have to Ultra Ball. But on the flip side, he doesn't have any energy attachment, as you can see, and just has to pass, which is really unfortunate. And yeah, let's see what Jake does here. So yeah, it just does pretty much what I guess we all expected he would do. It's just promote the Terrakion to Land Crush for the KO on Sigilyph. I believe that's what he's going to do. Yep, just goes, knocks out Sigilyph, and for Jake there must be a huge weight lift, because obviously with not having Sigilyph on the board, it means that he can attack all the Pokemon now that there's no restrictions. But yeah, for Nathan, it's really unfortunate, because I mean, if he had, say, a Juniper in hand, or even an N, or something that would give him energy on the board, he could make a really good comeback at this point. But as you can see, he just has to pass because he has no energy attachment, and it's kind of killing the game off for him a little bit. But so yeah, Jake retreats the Terrakion because it has the Prism on it, knowing that it has free retreat. So yeah, it just puts the energy onto Keldeo, dealing 110, I believe. Yep. So and the active Keldeo on Nathan's side already has 60 damage, so that totals up to 170, which is another knockout. And this actually puts Jake down to his last prize, and Nathan still is looking for energy. Even at this point, if he had some form of drawing supporter that would allow him to get some energies, it might even be possible to try and make a comeback at this point. But as you can see, he plays an energy retrieval and just gets a water and a psychic out. But I'm not too sure how many catches Jake's already used by this point, so that's something that he'd need to look out for, especially because he has the Blastoise on the bench. Okay, so Nathan's just searching through. I believe he played Ultra Ball. Just see what's in there, see his supporters and resources. And yeah, I know from I had to play Nathan in the previous round, and his deck set up a lot quicker than this. So it's, I guess, really unfortunate for him. But I guess these things happen sometimes. So yeah, Jake drew for his turn and gets a heavy ball. And he searches out for the Black Kyurem, which is something that we don't tend to see much of at the moment, but makes a really interesting tech in the Klinklang idea. So it'd be interesting to see how he uses the energy to manipulate the attack of the Black Kyurem. Okay, so he Skylers for the Pokemon catcher, catches out the Blastoise, and I'm quite confident this is game here. Yeah, so he retreats, puts the Black Kyurem, and I believe the Black Kyurem does, I can't remember off the top of my head, but something like 150 damage or something like that. So yeah, there you pretty much have it, guys. That is the deck idea for you, and that is the game. If you have anything you want to add, or if you like the deck or whatever, just post a comment in the comment section below, and yeah, like always, we'll try and get back to you. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you guys have a great Christmas and happy holidays.